Hi everybody, it's Al Tompkins from the Pointer Institute, and we're going to try to figure out where these photos came from. The photos of the hands that are clasped together that ended up being used for a very famous Instagram post, and later would be used on Bubba Wallace's NASCAR hood as part of the support for Black Lives Matter. Let's get started. A friend of mine at ESPN asked me, where did the photo come from, who took it, and how can we identify the models? So, let's go on a search. First things first, step one, do a reverse image search using a number of tools. First, Google Images. All you'll do there is either take the image that you have and put the URL of that image into the search engine, or you can drag the photo into Google Images and it will try to match it up with other known images. We'll do that first. TinEye is another search engine, works very similar, and then RevEye is a toolbar add-on. So what you'll do is go to Google Chrome, put in the words toolbar add-on, and use RevEye. RevEye is just a tool that will allow you to hover over any image, and it will launch 5 different search engines to see if it can match that image. But first things first, let's just use a Google image search. And when I put that image in to see if I can find any others that look like it, I found a bunch, including the first one that is an exact match. And I think that's probably the right one, but the rest of those are close, but not exactly right. So this doesn't really tell me very much, except that it tells me that this is a stock image and it probably comes from something like Shutterstock. Step 2 then is to start searching a few of those and see if we can figure out where this image came from. I'm going to start by searching Adobe stock, and bingo, that's where it is. It's an Adobe stock image, which means that you can license it through Adobe, and I'm finding several versions of this image. First of all, down in the lower corner down here, I see this version of it. So this guy and this guy grabbing hands. But wait, what about the blue background? That's probably photoshopped because of the white background and the blue background. So probably it's this hand and a color photoshopped behind it. That's my assumption because there's no other real way to get that kind of white color in that kind of a blue background. So I'm going to assume it's been photoshopped, and I'm probably going to be searching for these guys. The first thing I would do there is to use the Google Images to match the faces. Faces are so much easier to match than hands. So what I'm going to do is zoom in on one of their faces to see if I can find matches for them. Again, I'm going to be using Google Images, TinEye, RevEye, to see if I can match their face. I also noticed that he's wearing an unusual looking necklace. It's possible that as I search for models, that I'll also be looking for that kind of unusual necklace because that will make him stand out. So we'll take that image and we'll drop that image into a search, and we find that the image was first found in our search May 19th, 2014. So this is not a new image. And there are various incarnations of this that show up in our photo search. These all came from Google Images. And now I'm starting to find the other guy that was in the images. He's showing up too. And it's interesting to me because I can see that he had his image taken and put on the cover of a book. This image, which had occurred earlier, has also been photoshopped. So the backgrounds on these things are not to be trusted at all. It's the faces and the expressions that I'm looking for. As I continue to search through these images using Google Images, TinEye, and RevEye, I'm starting to see different incarnations of this same guy. And I can see that he quite popularly shows up with the same girl. So, for example, the girl in the upper left is the same girl that's second from the left on the bottom left image, and she's second from the left on the bottom right image as well. Also, the blonde is the same blonde that I saw in the earlier photo that was turned in, and there she is again on the left side of that image. So these are all models who work together. That's going to be useful to us in a little while as we try to figure out where they are and who might have captured this image. So these are the more interesting images. So when I'm doing a photo search, one of the things I'm trying to find are markers that might tell me where this image was captured. And this image really caught my eye because of the beer dispenser. I've never seen anything quite like it. It tells me it's probably not in the United States. It looks to me like it's something that I would see in Europe. But I can't be sure, but it sure looks way different from anything I've seen here. And I see this image show up a few different times. So it's a fairly common device, and you can see that he's also, by the way, it's our guy because he's got the necklace on in the upper left there, same necklace. So we know that's him. And we see that he's shown up in a few of these images that have that same beer dispenser back there. We also see that he shows up in some images involving a water park. And so, although he doesn't have his necklace on, that's for sure him. So wherever he is, it must be fairly near a beach, fairly near a beer garden, and fairly near water parks, because these are the images that show up most often involving him. But the next ones are the ones that really unlock it for us. So I've got this image of these 4 people, and now finally I've got 2 architectural backgrounds that are going to lock it up for us. So first of all, I notice that it's a stone street, and I also notice those arches behind them. So all I got to do now is start matching those arches with something. And one of the things that I find in this same series of photographs is this very unusual building. Now I know I can match this photograph. So all I'm going to do is just capture the arches and that white square in the upper part of the image. I'm going to just capture those and try to photo match those using Google Images, TinEye, and RevEye. And guess what? Boom, I finally find it. So I find that building. It's for sure that building. I find that building, those same streets, and I find that it marks to a little plaza in Italy called the Piazza Cavour. So that's the market. Now all I got to do is Google the Piazza Cavour market and find out where that is. By the way, there are the streets, so that's it. Obviously, I can see also those arches on the right side that I had seen earlier as well. So all I got to do now is just pull that up on a Google map, and that's going to be pretty easy to do. So, wait, I can see now that the piazza is really close to a beach. It's all starting to make sense now. All of these things are relatively close by, and I can see that there it is on the east coast of Italy. Now I know exactly where those photos are from, and I can start assuming that the photographer must be from somewhere close to there because all those images have that in common. So what I'm going to do now is just Google the phrase commercial photographers in Rimini, Italy, and although I'll spell it right, and I find the first thing up is something called the Microstock Academy by ViewApart. Okay, well, that sounds about right. So microstock is an idea that commercial photographers have where they take a lot of photographs and then license those as stock photos. So this stands a pretty decent chance of being our person. First of all, I mean, how many stock photographers are there in a modest-sized town like that? And so I see that that's the photographer, and I can see that that this is a serious quest for him to have these kinds of photographs on there. And when I look at his gallery of photos on his Facebook page, guess who I see? Very familiar faces, right? People, images that we've actually seen in those stock photos, and we have every reason to believe now that the arms that we were after are after these 2 folks, and these 2 folks were captured by that photographer in that town in Italy in 2014. So we just send a message to his Facebook page, get back an answer that led to a story that ESPN ran called The Backstory of Drew Brees' Viral Apology Image, a 2014 stock photo from Italy and a shocked photographer, written by Jeremy Fowler, who did a terrific job with this. The photographer's name is Mirko Vitali, and it said that he was relaxing with friends on an island off the coast of Italy when he learned about his unintended role of a major story in the United States. Vitali said he doesn't watch the NFL or stock car racing. He doesn't know about Colin Kaepernick or why the former San Francisco 49ers quarterback knelt during the national anthem in 2016, and why it could happen again after the NFL commissioner Roger Goodell and the league apologized for not understanding the players' protest earlier. And Vitali said he had no idea who Brees was until Adobe Stock had contacted him a week after Brees' post to emphasize the photo's impact. The first thing I did was a reverse search just using very common tools. Second, I focused on a face or a unique architecture or landscape. It's going to narrow the focus down. Just focusing on those hands just isn't going to be enough. Then map the match, whatever match you get. Search for likely sources. All I did was put in commercial photographer in that town in Italy. All I'm trying to do is zero in, even though I'm pretty sure once I've zeroed in, because I see those photos show up in his portfolio online, still contact the source to confirm. Never assume anything. You can't just assume, because remember, he's a photo agency. So those photos could have come from somebody else, although it's starting to look less and less likely once you get that far down the search. The whole search took me probably 45 minutes or so. And I might have been able to go faster if I had just done what ESPN did much faster than I did. ESPN noticed pretty quickly in their library that it was in fact a stock photo. And so they ended up looking at the licensure agreement from that stock photo, something I wouldn't have had access to because I didn't have the licenses for all those pictures like they did. But it's a much faster way to do it. If you can do it without doing all this searching, then you'll find it much faster. But we were able to confirm each other's work, and they were able to contact and get the story. So that's how you do it. To be a photo sleuth, just follow all of your instincts, use the tools that you have, but don't assume anything. I'm Al Tompkins from the Poynter Institute. I hope this helps.